life is great. I'm actually working at Angostura for the past 15 years now. And before that, I was at Hilton. I think everybody knows that. So life has been great. I do a lot of traveling. I have a wonderful family. So I have nothing to complain about, really, to be very honest. I think my philosophy is, and always has been, let God be in control at all times, because at the end of the day, no matter what we try to do, how we try to deviate from what, where we're going, sometimes it just doesn't work out the way we want it to be. So I say, you know what, take one day at a time, one step at a time, and see where you end up. Do all that you can do to get where you're going, to achieve your goals, but if things come in the way that perturb it or, run you off the track or whatever, then just get back up and continue going and just say, leave it up to God. What I try to do, of course, you try to pray every day and just ask God to guide you as best as He can. And then you try to stay calm, because I think above all else, you need to stay calm in any situation that is going astray. You need to be able to say to yourself, okay, Giselle, this can't be that bad. And also put yourself in other people's position and say, there are a lot of people worse off than you. So if you think of them and put yourself in their position, then you have a pretty good life, Because when you think of all the drastic things that are happening worldwide with people, and I look at, if I were to even compare my life, I shouldn't even compare it. I have absolutely nothing to be concerned about and nothing to be crying or upset about. My little humps are just humps. People are going over mountains, and that helps me get by. I am dynamic. I am pleasant. I am a go-getter. I'm a good mother. And I would say generally a good person. I have 2 boys. One is going to be 21 this month, and the other one is going to be 16 in September. So, some big boys. I think the best time was actually seeing my firstborn child come to life. Because, you always hear about birth and you always hear about motherhood, but when you actually live it, it's so totally different, and it's like nothing that you could ever imagine. So I think I would have to chalk that down to be the best time. Actually seeing this child and having him in my arms. That it didn't even take away from the second child being born, because you went through the same thing again. But I think both, seeing my children born, those are the best times of my life. The worst? I can't really say that I've had a terrible time at all in my life, I mean, you've had little heartaches here, and you've had a hurt foot, injured this, I injured that. I think maybe if I had to look at one particular thing, would probably be when my mother died last year. I didn't expect it. I went to the hospital. She was just going for a normal procedure, just to take out. They'd found that she had cancer, so they were going to take out the cancerous tumor, and just to delve further to see how to treat it, etc. And she went in that morning. I took the day off, fortunately, went in, and she never came out. And to me, that was the most devastating thing, because one, I didn't see her enough as it is. She always complained, oh, I never see you, you're always working, you're always doing this and the other. So I only saw her like once a week. I spoke to her every day, but only once a week I saw her. And so I think that was a very emotional time for me, actually, just losing her like that and never to be seeing her again. That really hurt a lot. Childhood was, from what I remember, childhood was fun, exciting. I had wonderful parents, so they made sure we did as much as we wanted to do. I grew up all over the place because I traveled. I think when I say traveled, within Trinidad, we lived in Samoa, we lived in Diego Martin, eventually went to Marabella. That's where I really grew up, in Marabella, and I went to St. Peter's School. So I did primary school and secondary school at St. Peter's. But it was just a case of them exposing us as much as they could to everything that life offered, and not holding us back. And like, if we loved something, if we had a passion for something, they would make sure and try and see how much they can accommodate us in getting it done, or doing, being a part of it, or just following our goals and our dreams. They were very protective. I mean, I grew up very protected, but at the same time, it was a protection that was more, there was camaraderie there as well, and guidance. And I mean, up till I was maybe 20, my father was still dropping me and picking me back up, but they were there. And I think that is important. And I think that's what in many instances is lacking in some family units, I think it's very important for both parents to be there for their children. I know it's not always possible, but it's good if even both parents are not there, at least the figures are there, a mother and a father, or a male and a female, That I think worked really well for us as kids. And my father was the type of person who liked to go all over Trinidad, and he used to take us on little adventures. And we used to go a lot to different beaches in South, in the West. Manzanilla and Maracas and Mayaro and all the common places, of course. So I just have fond memories of childhood. I really do. My father was very jovial and very much like a Santa Claus kind of person. Very, very happy-go-lucky, a people's person. Very contrasting to my mother, who's a lot more reserved and loved her family close to her heart, She wasn't a go-getter. She wasn't, when I say a go-getter, she wasn't out there. He was the one working and meeting people, and he loved that kind of thing. Whereas she's quite content to be at home, watch her shows, look after her kids, cook the food, that kind of thing.
Keep everybody together.
She kept everybody together, yes, she was. That's just it. Miss World just happened. That's precisely it. I was working at Tech U Credit Union. I'd finished school and all of that, and I was actually trying to get money to go to university, to go to UE, because at the time we had to pay to go to UE. And Brenda Joy Fahey, I don't know if you remember her, right? She and her brothers insisted for some strange reason that particular year they wanted me to enter Miss Trinidad and Tobago. And I'm like, hello, I'm a tomboy. This is not for me. You see my skinny legs? Blah, blah, blah. I give them a million, reasons why I'm not supposed to do this. And they just insisted. And I don't know what. I mean, now that I look back on it, I figure maybe it was divine. Why that particular year that they kept insisting. I mean, I didn't do many things with them before that, Why were they insisting? And so we went, they took me down, they got me a gown, and they got me a swimsuit. I think they even got me my heels. And they took me down, and the rest is history. I just went into the competition, I got into the competition, and won to represent the country at Miss World. Went there and won that. So I think, remember I said earlier, your life is just mapped out and it's all up to God. I think that basically was just part of what was supposed to happen to me. It was exciting. It was tiring. So it was a lot of challenge as well.
Could you have appreciated at that time?
I think I appreciated a lot more after, when I realized all that I'd been through and what I'd seen and what I'd done, and when I spoke to people about all the things that I'd done, how much they were in awe of it. Then I said to myself, wow, I really had a wonderful year, I did a lot of traveling, so I went to all the continents of the world, and was able to really see what beauty with a purpose was all about, because that's what Miss World is all about. It's beauty but with a purpose, and the purpose really is to raise funds to help children around the world. That's the modus operandi. And to actually go to the different countries, see who and the locations that we were trying to raise money for, to make better homes for children. I was able to see all of that. So that was interesting for me. And then to be able to go back and give them the money, actually present it to them, I actually saw where the money was going to. So it had meaning, it had purpose, and I felt happy to be part of that, Yeah, because when you're actually doing it, that whole year, you're on a roll, you're on a high. It's so totally different to anything expected. You're meeting people from all over the world, of all different ilks, all different backgrounds, all different countries, all different jobs. It's just so diverse that I couldn't even explain to you. And many times I tell people, when they say, tell me what it was like, I just skim through the surface, because I can't really tell you what it's like. It's like telling people, trying to explain Juve to somebody who doesn't know anything about Carnival or Juve, that kind of thing.
All the
Yeah, all the nuances and the little times and different things that you did, and sometimes you don't even remember all of it until after. So I might be talking to you now, and I may not remember some of the things that I'd been through. A week after, I might remember, hey, but yes, I remember I did this, I did that, And I think too, what was interesting was the impact that I had on people that I didn't know that I had, if you know what I mean. Especially like the children and the younger women and that kind of thing. So it made you take your role really seriously and say to yourself, okay, if you can influence people so much, then you need to make sure that you're influencing them in a good way, in the right direction, And so that to me was an important element, and I try to live by that even now. I think the biggest lesson I've learned over the years is to make sure that no matter what, throughout life, you remain humble. And to be able to do that, I realized that you need to know yourself, first of all. Know yourself, know what your purpose in life is, know what you would like to achieve, and also be considerate of other people. And that's the only way you can truly be humble. The big bad wolf. What am I afraid of? I think sometimes, and this is contrary to what my true belief is in terms of God and the living after and all of that, but sometimes I actually fear death. And I fear death more so because I have kids. I don't necessarily fear death in its entirety, but I fear death if it comes too soon. Because I want to be able to see my children comfortable, happy, settled, married, or at least leading the path, leading the life that they want to live. Leading the life that they want to live. I want to be able to be around for that. So in that context, I fear death. Other than that, I don't really have a big fear. I don't know if you put me on on a plane and throw me off and say jump, and even though I have a parachute on, I don't know how I'll react to that. Fear might take in, but I think if I were to sit here as I am sitting here and think, what do I fear? The main thing that comes to mind would be sudden death. I think my OMG moment is a little bit more frivolous than you probably would imagine. But I think from what I recall, my OMG moment would be doing a fashion show soon after I think I became Miss World, and it was at the Queen's Hall. And I did like 3 sessions, and it was fine, and I was having a good time. And I think it was my last session, I went across the stage, and all of a sudden my shoe got stuck. My shoe got stuck in the flooring. And I'm there trying to smile at this huge audience. And I think that was like, oh my God. That was my oh my God moment.
You got the shoe out?
Yeah, I just bent down, picked it up, and walked with it in my hand. There was nothing I could do. Because, you kind of jerk to get it off. So, OMG.